You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Hi, I'm Bella Perez Rubio, Puma Podcast, and this is Teka Teka News. In this episode,
Glorious day, beginning of my vindication.
a Muntinlupa court acquits Leila de Lima of another drug charge. The former senator, who is in her 6th year of detention, is now one step closer to freedom.
I'm Attorney Rolly Francis Cipioro. I'm part of the legal team of former Senator Leila de Lima. So we're the one preparing for her defense in all cases.
Attorney Rolly was inside the courtroom when former Senator de Lima was acquitted. We spoke a few hours later.
We were there very early, mga 7 a.m. Marami rin kasi sa team members hindi makatulog because this is the day. Di ba? Iba yung vibe kanina. And then, nung nakita kami ni Ma'am, ang mga nandoon si Justice Conchita Carpio Morales, Dean Tony Lavinia, dumating din si Dinchel, at yung mga iba pang supporters ni Ma'am Laila. Pagkadating namin, medyo nag-start mga 9 na because the prosecution, they were late. Naghintay pa rin ng ibang members ng prosecution. Ang daming tao sa labas, may nagde-demo din, may mga supporters si Ma'am. We chose, the defense and the prosecution chose to have the dispositive portion na lang. Wag na yung the entire decision. The decision ay 39 pages. So it will take time. Then binasa na, wherefore premises considered accused Leila M. de Lima and Ronnie Dayan are acquitted. Nagpalakpakan doon sa courtroom and si Ma'am hindi niya na napigilan. Kasi all along, siguro ilang meters yung layo ko sa kanya . Kasi ang kasama niya naman si Attorney Teddy Rigorosa, yung lead counsel namin. Pero magkahawak kamay sila, makikita mo talagang ang higpit ng hawak nila sa isa't isa. And then nung narinig na ni Mama yung acquitted siya, she cried. Talagang umiyak na siya. And then, niyakap na kung sino yung unang nandoon na abogado. And yan na yung naging feeling sa buong korte. Kahit nga ako parang naluluha ako . Though I expect naman na talagang innocent si Ma'am, it really felt great.
Can you briefly talk about what charge exactly was Senator Leila acquitted of?
Yung cases against Senator Leila de Lima ay lahat illegal drug trading under Republic Act 9165 or Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act. 3 yung sinampa sa kanya. Criminal cases 165, 166, and 167. So ang teorya, sa parehas ng mga 3 cases, si Ma'am daw ay part ng illegal drug trading within the National Bilibid Prison. Yung mga inmates, sila magbebenta using electronic gadgets, with the help of Ronnie Dayan and other personalities involved.
Ronnie Dayan was a former aide of de Lima's. He was also acquitted.
And the proceeds went to Senator Leila de Lima. Yan yung kwento. Nag-iiba lang for 165, 166, and 167 dun sa material dates at yung mga other accused involved and the amount. Dun sila nagkakaiba. But they are all basically the same. Ang nangyari kanina, it's the criminal case 165. Yan daw, noong November and December 2012, nakatanggap si Senator Leila de Lima ng tagpa 5 million in both instances. So a total of 10 million. Dinala daw ni Rafael Ragos sa kanya. At si Rafael Ragos daw ay kinuha yon, binigay naman ng mga drug lords sa Bilibid. Yun yung criminal case 165. Yun ang na-dismiss.
Rafael Ragos served a brief stint as Bureau of Corrections Chief when de Lima was Justice Secretary. Ito yung case na may witness na nag-recant ng testimony, right? Can you talk about that and how it relates to the acquittal?
Exactly, Ma'am. Recap lang ako ng kaunti. Doon sa 3, unang na-dismiss ang criminal case 166. hindi na tayo nagpresenta ng ebidensya. Ang ginawa lang natin doon ay nag-file tayo ng demurrer or parang request for dismissal dahil sabi natin, walang ebidensya talaga na naglilink kay former Senator Leila de Lima. We also filed the same demurrer sa case, dito sa case na to 165. Pero ang sabi ng judge, hindi may ebidensya na nagsasabing nakatanggap si ma'am ng 10 million at ang testigo na yun ay si Rafael Ragos. No? And remember, noong April 2022, last year, nag-recant si Rafael Ragos when the term of President Duterte was already coming to its end. No? Ang naging desisyon kanina, sinabi ng judge, no, yung actual act na ginawa in the theory of the prosecution ni Senator Leila de Lima ay tumanggap ng pera. At ang naglilink sa kanya nun ay si Rafael Ragos. But with the recantation, no, there's now question on the credibility. Actually, yung testimony ay binawi. So, nagkaroon ng reasonable doubt doon sa testimony ni Ragos. Yun ang naging dahilan ng acquittal.
Can you also talk about the status of the last remaining case?
Ang status niya, kakatapos pa lang ng bail hearing. The decision should have been out last Monday, pero may mga technicalities na nangyari, may mga dokumento pa daw na kailangang ayusin at linawin ng prosecution. So, hindi natuloy nung Monday. Kung nagkataon na nag-grant nung Monday at yung nangyari kanina, nakalabas na siguro si Senator Leila de Lima.
Posible pa rin for her to get out on bail bago matapos yung third case?
Yes.
We get into the Marcos administration's response to De Lima's acquittal after a quick break.
The rule of law has prevailed, and it just points out to us that the independence of the judiciary is a basic foundation of our democratic system. So it's good for us. It just proves that things are working in our country.
That's Justice Secretary Boying Remulla. Since taking office, President Marcos has been set on drumming up foreign investment, and De Lima walking free could be a big help. The European Union has also made clear that the Philippines risks losing its trade perks if we fail to address alleged human rights abuses, including De Lima's detention. In February, a member of the EU Parliament said releasing De Lima and rejoining the International Criminal Court would indicate that the Philippines wants to keep its trade perks, granted under the Generalized Scheme of Preferences Plus, or GSP Plus. Several US and EU lawmakers have also called for De Lima's release. Many of them have gone to see her. Everyone's watching to see how differently President Marcos will handle these cases compared to his predecessor, who really has a much more combative and personal relationship with Senator Leila. In your observation, was there a change ever since the administration changed?
Merong malaking changes, ma'am. Marami. Una, yung nawala lang yung mga tirada against former Senator Leila de Lima. Malaking bagay yun because if you can remember, the President Duterte during his term, talagang sinasabi niya guilty na si ma'am. No, siya mismo yung nagkakaroon ng mga statements, even the spokesperson Harry Roque, no, ang laging declarations ay guilty na si former Senator Leila de Lima. But in this case, BBM, wala siyang mga ganong statements. And actually, if you can remember the incident na sa Camp Crame, yung napasok yung mismong cell ni Senator Leila de Lima ng mga terorista at ginawa siyang hostage, no? Right after that, si President Bongbong Marcos nangumusta sa kanya if she's okay. May statements na si President Bongbong Marcos na acknowledging there were abuses in the drug war. Malaking bagay yun For us, what happened to Senator Leila de Lima ay isa sa mga malaking abusong ginawa nung administrasyon na yun. Trump-up charges, mga perjured witnesses, malaking abuso talaga.
Here's what Marcos said at the Center for Strategic and International Studies earlier this month.
And in my view, what had happened in the previous administration is that we focused very much on enforcement. And because of that, it could be said that there were abuses by certain elements in the government, and that has caused some concern with in many quarters about the human rights situation in the Philippines.
After her victory at court last week, Leila de Lima returned to her quarters in Camp Crame. Last year, I saw her there for an interview, but I wasn't allowed to record it, and members of the prosecution, Justice Department lawyers, were there to observe. I sat across her in one of Camp Crame's spare rooms, a table between us and a fluorescent white light overhead. I asked her what a typical day for her was like in detention. She told me she wakes up between 4:30 and 5 o'clock a.m. to pray, exercise, and get her chores out of the way. From 8 to 5, she does her paperwork brought to her by her staff. She also tends to her small garden and her many pets, more than 10 stray cats and dogs. She reads to pass the time in the evening and goes to bed between 10 and 11 p.m. One of her dogs, Venus, who was with her when she was held hostage last October, has since passed away.
Naiiyak nga siya noon kasi lalabas na tayo. Sabi niya doon kay Venus, doon sa dog niya. Tapos, yun nga, pero may infection daw na nangyari na namatay. Sayang. Kasi, isasama niya talaga pag-uwi. Isasama niya sa pag-uwi. Lumaki na yung aso sa kanya eh. Mula sa maliit. Sobrang mahal na mahal ni Ma'am yun. Kasi, kasama niya talaga. Kasama niya lagi.
At the height of the pandemic, her world grew even smaller. For nearly 2 months, no one was allowed to visit her, and her loved ones passed away in the meantime. Among them was her sister-in-law, who she was unable to visit because her request for furlough was denied. She told me she missed the small things too. Going to the grocery, long drives, ballroom dancing, and Mass at Our Lady of Manaog Church. Attorney Peoro says De Lima could be out as soon as next month. But if the prosecution decides to drag out this last case, it could be another 2 years.
Hindi pa klaro kanina kung anong gustong gawin ng prosecution. Pero bago kasi yung trial, sa pre-trial order, nakalagay marami talaga silang testigo, just like in the other cases. In criminal case 166 and 165, mga 22 witnesses ang napresenta nila. So kung they would go that way, baka may mga 12 pa silang ipipresenta. So gusto natin, sige, habang nagpipresent kayo, no, give us provisional liberty para nasa kalayaan naman na si Senator Leila de Lima. Pero isa ring posibilidad, sabihin nila na we would no longer present any witnesses, okay na kami sa 10. Pero lahat kasi ng mga testigo na yon, naging in favor pa nga kay Senator eh. So tingin namin, ipipresent nyo pa rin ba yung mga same witnesses na yon?
Given that it was deferred earlier this week, how likely do you think it is na mag-grant yung bail before an acquittal?
Hindi namin matansya talaga. Pero kami very hopeful kasi yung mga witnesses sa first and 2 cases, halos pare-parehas din lang naman. And even the tenor of their testimony ay pare-parehas din. No? So we're hoping na sana makita ng judge na the evidence of guilt is not strong against the accused former Senator Leila de Lima.
And that was today's episode of Teka Teka News. Again, I'm Bella Perez Rubio. This episode was edited by Pidoy Blanco. Follow Teka Teka News on your favorite podcast app or listen to us for free on YouTube. Thanks for listening.